If you're thinking about making the move to Daybreak in South Jordan, Utah, stop. First, watch this video. These are the top 10 things about living in Daybreak. And I speak to this from somebody who's lived here for the last decade, and I think there are so many reasons to fall in love with Daybreak, but I also want you to understand the negatives as well, because some of those might make you rethink your decision. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Scott Steele. I live in Daybreak. I've lived here for a decade, and I love it here, but I didn't love everything right out of the gate. In fact, it took me a couple of years to really fall in love with Daybreak, and I'm going to share those things in other YouTube videos, and I've already created many of those already that you can check out right here in my channel. But in this video, I'm talking about the 10 best things about living in Daybreak. And look, you probably clicked on this video because you want the inside scoop about what it's like to live here. And by the end of this video, my hope is that you'll have clarity as to know whether or not this is the right place for you as well. And look, most people here, Daybreak is the perfect master planned community. It looks like the Truman Show, if you know what that movie is. It's walkable, it's modern, it's full of amenities and jam-packed with events and activities. And it's close to Salt Lake City. And yes, all of this is true to a very great extent, but there's more. And here's the thing, perfection does not exist. There's not a perfect place for absolutely everybody. And there are aspects of living in Daybreak that to many are surprising or viewed as negatives. And it's always my goal to make sure that I'm sharing both sides of the story, both positive as well as the challenging things with respect to living anywhere, especially the place where I call home. And look, I've helped countless clients make the move to the state of Utah, including many right here in Daybreak where I live. And so with my perspective and that perspective that comes through experience and helping so many people make the move here, I can tell you all of this and more because I've not only lived here, but I've walked the paths, I've walked the trails, I've lived here, I've experienced everything there is to live, not only within Daybreak, but in many communities outside of Daybreak and throughout the state of Utah as well. So you're getting the real world truth from somebody who actually knows what it's like to live both inside and outside of Daybreak, and not just getting the marketing fluff. So look, here's how it's gonna go. We're gonna walk through the 10 things that you need to know about living in Daybreak. And these are the things that you really need to check to make sure if Daybreak is really the right place for you. Let's roll. And to begin, Daybreak is a master planned community in the southwest quadrant of the Salt Lake Valley in the city of South Jordan with over 4,000 acres. And the original goal of Daybreak was to build neighborhoods where homes, parks, trails, shops, schools, and everything in between are all integrated into a community where people can live, whether it's in a condo or a townhome, or a single family home, an estate or luxury home, and even your retirement home. You'll find sidewalks, trails, parks literally within a 5-minute walk of every single home. And if you love walking and biking to recreational areas or other points of interest, that's a massive plus. But Daybreak is divided into many different villages, from Heights Park to Highland Park to East Lake to Soda Row and Cascade Village. There are so many villages within Daybreak that you're going to want to check in on to make sure that you're landing in the right place for you. Because some parts or some villages are further from the shops, the trails, the downtown Daybreak area with the ballpark than the promotional materials really make them seem to be. So it matters because you might want a really walkable experience. You might want that well-planned neighborhood that raises the quality of life, lowers your car dependence, or builds that community vibe. But if you assume that every house is within a 1-minute walk of everything that you need, that's just simply not true. So you might want to check with a map and check with a professional that knows the area like the back of their hand to make sure that you're being guided to the right place for you and or your family. And if the design of Daybreak is so great, it only stands to reason that the amenities here are just stellar as well, which brings us to talking point number 2. And that is the amenities, the trails, and the outdoor lifestyle that includes a lake and a watercourse. Daybreak boasts a huge network of trails, both for walking as well as biking, but it also includes a man-made lake as well as a watercourse and countless parks and everything in between. And so if you're looking for access to all of these things and so much more, as well as community pools and community centers, as well as dog parks, you've got it all right here in the heart of Daybreak. The only question is, how close are all of those things to the actual home that you're going to be buying here? And that's where you need a little bit of guidance. And the goal is that your expectations match reality. If you're looking for that home right on the lake, you're going to pay a premium for it. If you want that home that's right on the watercourse or right next to that really hot amenity, you might end up paying a little bit more for it because it is a more desirable home. And when we consider the areas outside of the community space, and we're talking about your specific yard, those things come into play as well, because while most yards in Daybreak are on the smaller side, some offer so much more privacy or larger spaces than what other homes might provide. So you really want to know exactly what the orientation of the home is, what the yard is going to be like and feel like, so that it's making sure that it's checking all of your boxes and it's adding to the experience of living within the community itself. And look, all of these amenities in Daybreak are fantastic. They're wonderful. They provide a way of life that's truly unmatched, and in my opinion, make it such an attractive place to live. But they do come at a cost and with rules. And on the topic of rules, let's talk about the HOA. HOAs are something that some people are really drawn to because they provide such a desirable looking community, and they maintain that community over the course of many years. For others, it might be really too restrictive and it might be annoying. So let's talk about the HOA for just a moment. And the first thing we need to talk about is cost. If you live in most single-family homes in Daybreak, your cost of the HOA is going to be about $143 per month, billed quarterly, and that cost does include your high-speed fiber internet, which, if you take that into account, the remaining portion of what you're spending to live in such an amazing community, in my opinion, is one of the best values you'll ever get from an HOA. And look, those costs cover all of the shared spaces, the maintenance, the trails, the lake, the watercourse, and all of the amenities. But with that HOA comes more oversight. Home exterior upkeep and landscaping are a big talking point. You might get that dreaded letter that it's time to repaint your house after 15 years. You might get that letter or that notification that it's time to spruce up your landscaping. Regardless of what it is, I think these are the very reasons that Daybreak is and remains to be such an attractive place to live. And while many people in the forums online or on Reddit might say that the HOA here is completely overbearing, requiring you to paint your house every 10 years, I totally understand that sentiment. It's not for everybody, but for those that want that upkept neighborhood and that really cool vibe that was the design of Daybreak from the beginning, this is precisely why we have the HOA. And in my opinion, it's what provides the value in Daybreak to begin with. Now, Daybreak was designed after a really popular neighborhood in Salt Lake City known as Yellcrest, integrating architectural styles from a blend of different types of styles of homes, including a Tudor style and an English Manor style, as well as so many more. And on top of that, they've added the modern flair as well. And it's that design that they've built this community upon, where the center or the focus of a home is the front porch rather than the garage, is really the reason that people are drawn to Daybreak to begin with. So beyond the cost of the HOA, what are the covenants, conditions, and restrictions within the community itself? And look, if you need those or you want those, reach out to me. I'm here for you. I've got all of those documents that I can provide to you to make sure that you can see if it's the right place for you. But why does all of this matter? Well, the unseen costs or the restrictions in the HOA can really be a decisive factor as to whether or not you want to buy here to begin with. And that's because they affect your budget, your lifestyle, flexibility, and long-term satisfaction and your way of life. If you do want minimal rules and no HOA restrictions, this very well might be a mismatch for you. Okay, so you love the trails, you love the vibe of the neighborhood and all of the amenities that are provided, and you're comfortable with the HOA. But what about traffic? Okay, let's talk about traffic and access into and through the community itself. While the community is designed for walkability, there are practical realities about roads, access, and commuting. Some residents note that narrow streets and congestion are a pain point, and I would add that my personal opinion of Daybreak in terms of the thing that I like least about it is that it's the narrow roads. And for me, it's something I can quickly overcome because it feels like such a really amazing community, and I've overlooked that. But it is a valid complaint. The streets here are a little bit narrower, and it does impact how you get through the community, especially during peak hours. Also, if you commute into downtown Salt Lake City or elsewhere, check your travel time during peak hours from your specific village or your specific house within Daybreak. Also, weekend traffic and events can really impact traffic within the community. If there's a big event by the lake or at Soda Row or something to do with shopping or some event within the community or a baseball game, it might impact the local roads to a great degree. And no matter how beautiful a home or a community, if the ease of the lifestyle in that community is overburdened by traffic and congestion, it doesn't make it that attractive anymore. And for me, Daybreak works phenomenally well, but for others, it may not. Now, I have my preferences as to where the best places to live in Daybreak are, but I think that the access into and out of Daybreak, whether it be through Bangerter Highway or the new Mountain View corridor, which is being built as a freeway, or the main corridors that run east-west, have really created a framework to get people in and out of Daybreak very easily, and that infrastructure is still under construction today. But beyond traffic and access, there's another thing that weighs heavily on the minds of so many people that move here, and that's schools. So look, Daybreak is oftentimes marketed towards families, and for good, valid reason. Utah is known for having the most children per capita than any other state in the nation, and that rings true here in Daybreak as well. Daybreak is a phenomenal place to raise a family, and it's precisely the reason why I fell in love with Daybreak as I'm raising my kids here as well. And the reason for that is simple. Kids can get outside and play in these community spaces and make friends with other kids in the neighborhood. And to me, it's the secret sauce as to why this place works so incredibly well for families, but it's also that walkability to the schools that make it appealing as well. So if you have children, investigate which school your home is zoned for. And if you need help with that, that's precisely why I'm here. It's the capacity, the reputation, the walking or biking routes to the school, and the facilities themselves. Or if you're single and you just don't care about schools, verify that you're not paying a premium for family-focused parks or proximity to these schools that you don't need or use. Because ultimately, schools can significantly impact the resale value and the community atmosphere, whether it's a kid-friendly versus a more adult area, and your day-to-day life. So depending on what atmosphere you're looking for, it's really going to dictate which home is going to be most appealing to you. And to answer the most popular question I'm asked routinely, especially from families, is how are the schools rated here? I have resources that I can share. As a real estate professional, we're not supposed to share school rankings specifically, but I do have the resources that you'll need so that you can do that research and make the best choice for you. And speaking to that same concept and understanding what is the atmosphere of the area where you live, that's the next talking point. And speaking to this same point in terms of who are your neighbors and what is the vibe within the community where you live, well, that's number 6. So let's talk about the neighborhood, the people, and the community culture in Daybreak. And my recommendation for people, because I'm a real estate professional and I can't talk about demographics or the makeup of a community, I can say that so many people have moved to Utah and to Daybreak specifically that has added a lot of flavor in terms of, regardless of what you're into or who you are, I think you're going to find your people inside of Daybreak because it is such a large community. And look, I would encourage you to visit Daybreak at various times. Visit during the weekends or in the evenings. Get a feel for the vibe in the neighborhood. Eat at our local restaurants, shop in our local stores, and see how quiet it is or how lively it is. And you can really dial in, is it the right place for you, just by spending some hours or even days within the community to make sure that it's right for you. And I would encourage you as well, if you're able to, socialize, talk to people, ask them questions. What is it really like to live here? And get that perspective from other people that you're coming into contact with. And one of the things that I get constant feedback with is everybody is so positive and uplifting with respect to talking about what it's like to live in Daybreak. I also get a lot of feedback that they can't believe how many people are outside, regardless of the time of year or the weather, and that the events are constant. There's always something happening within the community that you can engage with and feel like you're part of that community as well. And if you have specific cultural preferences, this is going to help you check whether the feel matches for you. And ultimately, how it feels to you means it's going to fit your lifestyle and it's going to bring happiness to you and making sure that this is the right spot for you. And I see this happen a lot. People pick the wrong house in the wrong area, even within the same community, and it's not the right spot for them. So we want to make sure that we dial this in before you make that purchase. And to that point, now that we've talked about lifestyle, let's talk about real estate. With respect to real estate in Daybreak, Daybreak has it all. It has a phenomenal mix of condos, townhomes, single-family homes, large estate or luxury style homes as well, and all the way up into 55+ retirement homes. And the bottom line here is they've built a community where you can not only purchase your first place, but you can purchase your last and everything in between. So I would encourage you to decide what home type fits you. Is that a townhome, or is it a larger lot with a larger single family home? Each comes with trade-offs, whether it's the price, the maintenance, or the size of the yard, it all comes into play. So I would also encourage you to research the current market pricing and trends for the village that you're considering. And for that reason, I've created my website where you can log in and register to make sure that you're getting all of the active properties on the MLS. And you could find that link right on the front of my page here on YouTube. You'll see that link for the Utah Real website. You can log in, create an account, and find that you can search all of the properties that are hitting the market in our local MLS in real time. And while you're researching and seeing these houses as they pop up on the market, I would encourage you to reach out to us. We will engage with you and we'll make sure that we're dialing in those searches to make sure that you're seeing exactly what you need to see. And what that means to you is as soon as any home hits the local MLS, you're going to be notified about it, you're going to see it, and you're going to be able to interact with us and making sure that you let us know if you like that property or not without having to manually send it to us. You can literally just click that heart button to make sure that it shows up as a favorite. And for us, it means the world to us that we provide this service to making sure that you're well educated on the side of real estate to understand not only what are homes being sold for, but when it actually comes down to making an offer on a home, to making sure that we can pull all the data together to show you the comparative market analysis for other properties in helping you make that decision and understanding what a good offer is. So I would encourage you to register on my website. You can see it right there on the homepage of this YouTube channel. And when you do that, dial in that search, or if you need help, we will do it for you. Just reach out. We'll make sure that we're dialing in the searches for you to make sure that you're seeing exactly what you want to see. And one of the things that I always talk about with people is we want to consider resale value regardless of whether you're buying an existing home or new construction. All too often, I see people make decisions with respect to upgrades or enhancements to their property that literally bring no value. And what I want to make sure is that you're seeing that value clearly, because if we're making an offer on a home simply because of the perceived value and how beautiful something is, it may actually not be worth as much as you might think. And look, Daybreak is large and it's growing and growing. It's going to continue to grow for the next decade or two. And it's my goal to make sure that you end up in the perfect spot for you, to making sure that you ensure that you not only love where you live, but you're taking advantage of the upside of that future growth and development for the next couple of 20 years. But I also want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the upside that comes with that future growth in years to come as well. And look, your home is the largest financial decision that most people make. And for me, it's my goal and my mission to make sure that I'm helping you align your budget, your lifestyle, and your future resale value so that you can avoid the pitfalls that I see so many other people make. And speaking of budget and money in general, that takes us to talking point number 8. So let's talk about the hidden costs that come when you purchase a home in Daybreak as well. It's not just about the purchase price of your home. It's also the fact that when you buy a home in Daybreak, there is going to be a transfer fee when you go to sell that property in the future. So that transfer fee is 1/2 of 1%. So if it's a $500,000 home, you're going to have a $2,500 fee that's going to be paid when you do sell it, whenever that does happen. Or if you double that price to $1 million home, it's $5,000. Now, all of these things are negotiable in a real estate contract, and I have successfully negotiated to have buyers pay for that transfer fee. It just depends on market conditions and where we stand in the current moment. And next, I want to talk about the HOA fees. We talked about what the typical single-family home costs, but there are additional sub-HOAs as well for townhomes and condos, as well as other properties that might have a small additional fee, whether that's living on the island, or maybe you have a home where you get a little bit more in terms of the community maintenance that you might get in other single-family homes. So in order to build that realistic budget, it's not just the purchase price of the home, it's the cost of the HOA and the amenities that you're taking advantage of, as well as utilities and maintenance and all of the other things that come along with home ownership. And if you're looking at purchasing in a future phase of the development in Daybreak, reach out to me. I have relationships with all of the local builders here, and I help people buy new construction homes in Daybreak every single day. It's something that I am blown away with how much people really miss out on when they don't reach out to a specialist to help guide them through the process of building a home, regardless of which builder it's with. So if new construction is within the realm of what you're considering here in Daybreak, reach out to me beforehand so that I can set everything up, because ultimately it's about shopping those builders up against each other to make sure that you're not losing out on an opportunity, because there are a lot of incentives, especially in new construction, that I see so many people missing out on that we could have helped them negotiate otherwise. And another thing to really consider is, how much are you actually going to use the amenities in Daybreak? I'm personally blown away with how much people actually use all of the amenities here. There's nothing that's built that just goes unused. And I think that's really inspiring, because so many other communities and cities throughout the state and throughout the country build things that just never really get used all that much. And so it really boils down to, are you receiving the benefits for the things you're paying for by living in Daybreak? For me and for most people that live here, I would say absolutely and resoundingly yes, that is the case. And look, a misaligned budget can turn an exciting process into a nightmare really quickly. And we want to make sure that we avoid all of those things, because I don't want that for you. I don't want it for me. I don't want that for anybody that ends up moving here to begin with. And it all boils down to making the right decision for you. Now, you know the costs, you know the benefits of living in Daybreak, but you need to know about the future and where Daybreak is headed. Okay, look, Daybreak is still growing. For example, downtown Daybreak is just kicking off. Just the first things have been built, and so much more is yet to come. If you buy in an undeveloped pocket of Daybreak, you may endure construction along with those new phases as they get built out with new amenities, and you're probably going to notice some changes in traffic as well. On the flip side, that growth can bring more amenities, more transit, more opportunities, more retail, and that's going to boost your value. You're going to see an appreciation, an upside when you purchase new construction, and see once that neighborhood and that area is built out, you will realize a benefit in terms of appreciation. So what is planned around your new house or the new village where you're building? What's the timeline? Are the future commercial zones planned out? What's coming? Why does that matter? Well, your home's immediate surroundings can change over time, either for the better or temporarily less pleasant during construction, and certainly for the worse if it's the wrong spot. So being aware helps you anticipate and decide accordingly. And so finally, with all of that, let's talk about one of the most important things when it comes to Daybreak and how it's planned out in terms of connectivity, as well as transit and everything else. Okay, Daybreak is incredibly well planned out, but what about the infrastructure around it to move people in and out of Daybreak? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here. Bangerter Highway, sitting just to the east of Daybreak, has been completely turned into a freeway as the construction is completing this fall. The vast majority of that highway is now a full freeway all the way from I-15 in Draper on the south end of the valley and well beyond northward, heading towards the Salt Lake City International Airport. In addition to that main freeway, we also have another freeway that's currently under construction on the west side of Bangerter Highway, which happens to run right through the heart of downtown Daybreak, splitting Daybreak into two, and that's the new Mountain View Corridor, which is a very well planned out freeway running the entire length of Salt Lake County and down into Utah County and through Saratoga Springs and connecting with I-15. It's these two main thoroughfares that really pull people into and out of Daybreak, running north and south. But what about east and west? Well, for east-west travel, we have Daybreak Parkway and South Jordan Parkway that efficiently move people inside and out of Daybreak. And I think that they've really done a great job planning out the infrastructure with respect to transportation. But that's not all. Daybreak has something that's incredibly attractive, and that's the light rail train system that comes all the way through downtown Salt Lake City, throughout the valley here in Salt Lake, as well as into downtown Daybreak. And with the recent construction and addition of a new baseball stadium, movie theaters, bowling alleys, and many, many restaurants, we now have 3 train stops right here in the heart of Daybreak, right in the middle, that really make it appealing whether you're making that commute to downtown Salt Lake City or any other point of interest throughout the valley. It's really probable that you're going to have some incredible public transportation options if you live in Daybreak. And in my opinion, it's that connectivity that offers the freedom, the better quality of life, as well as everything else that becomes desirable in terms of living in a particular area. All right, so we've covered all these 10 things, but which of them is the most important to you? Because that's what matters most. So there you have it, the 10 most important things you should know about living in Daybreak. From walkability and amazing amenities, to the HOA and the cost and the realities of living here, to the schools and the culture, the home types and the budget, as well as the future growth and the transit or the connectivity. I want to reemphasize the pain point that's solved here in terms of what you should expect when moving to and living in Daybreak. Your expectation might be, I'll move to Daybreak and everything will be perfect. But the reality is, you can get a fantastic lifestyle there, but only if you understand these 10 elements and make the choices that align with your priorities. In other words, reality sometimes is better than expectations, but it can go the other way as well if you're misinformed. And for a last impression, Daybreak has so many reasons why people fall in love with it. I personally do. I've lived here for a decade. I think it's the most amazing place to live. And for that reason, I'm here to share videos just like this. And for me, it's the active lifestyle, the modern homes, the community feel, and for so many other people, it's exactly the right move, including myself. But the magic comes when you match your personal priorities to the right home, the right village, the right budget for you. Then this place can really feel like home in a very big way. So look, if you're considering making the move to Daybreak or anywhere else in the state of Utah, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. We help people do this each and every single day, and it's something that we really have a passion for, helping people just like you make that efficient move, and we have all of the resources, the guides, the knowledge, and the expertise to make that happen for you. So reach out to us. You can find my contact information down in the description below, or you can book a video call in that link that you'll find in the pinned comment on this and every video. And if this is the type of content that's helpful for you, please hit that subscribe button if I've earned it. It really does help me out. And if you're looking to learn more about life in Utah, check out this playlist next. And until the next video, thanks.